that is pure poison to sales figures.
Oh, I see. Alrighty, well, let's get started. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 516. Therapist reacts to Kylo Ren. Now, we've had, these are the guys called Cinematography. We've had them on before at least a year ago, and I wasn't too enthusiastic with them. Their opinions are, I wouldn't
very
say,
disingenuous.
I don't know what to describe these fellows as. Do they know the lore? They know some of the lore, and they focus on like one little bit and they forget the rest of it.
Yes.
It's something
that is accurate.
It's something weird like that. I'm just like, guys, you're missing the forest for the trees. You're probably well-meaning guys, and it just doesn't feel like they come from the background of a fan or the background of a therapist. It's like some weird, this is my opinion, I'm being a nice guy sort of take, which I never quite got, and that's why I didn't really care for them. And I don't think their takes are very good to begin with. But let's just talk about the video. It came out last year in February, has almost 500,000 views. And this channel has almost, 900,000 subs? It's huge. So, great. Good for them. I'm glad they're popular and doing well, but I never got into their videos for obvious reasons. And to apply therapy or to try to analyze like a character in a movie, I don't know if that's wise, or maybe if you're doing like a media analysis in university, you might want to do something like that.
Yeah, but like you wouldn't take it seriously. Like it would be just like toying around with the idea itself.
Yeah, like
and like maybe like this can be applicable for like a selective few of characters in cinema, like in all of cinema. I could probably count it on my fingers, like if it's like that deep. But like probably has the background of the author that like actually invested enough time to make it like accurate,
detailed,
like, real person.
It would have to be like
details,
slice
like
of
maybe I would like go with like what the characters in Monster. Maybe like they're very close to like being a real person.
Gee, I wonder why you would say that. Was you have Johan as your profile picture, Mark?
Yeah.
Well, you need to have a slice of life sort of depiction of people first off in a movie or story that is like, okay, there's lots of nuance, there's lots of just everyday scenes that anyone can pick apart. Like, okay, this is a guy going to go brush his teeth and he screams at his wife for some reason. You're like, okay, why did he do that? Is he angry at her? Does he love her? Does he hate her? Like, there's all this nuance to what's going on. You can't really do that with a J.J. Abrams flick and go, okay, here's a villain and he kills his dad and he does. It's like, okay, yeah, that's not really relatable, but he's a murderer, so he's crazy already.
I would actually reach the olive branch out just a little bit here and say you don't need to go too deep on a character to do a psychoanalysis on them. How deep that analysis can go, though, that is the question. And no, and that's this to bring up Mark's point, as he mentioned. Yeah, most characters are going to have a very shallow psychoanalysis compared to a normal human.
Exactly.
But you can still do it and get a basic idea of what a character is about. For example, with Kylo Ren, he's a schizophrenic.
I don't know.
But I just feel like if you would just like consider like all the characters about, because like a lot of his behavior is just a repeat from like a previous movie, because like he's not really like developing as a character that much. He's just showing like a different execution of the same behavior.
I don't think you could do proper analysis without talking to someone as you would in a therapist chair. It just wouldn't. Like, all you're doing is making observations, like, oh, he's violent here, and oh, he's lashing out because of this, and you're like, okay, he's angry, great, why? What does this have to do with the story? Like, you're just taking scenes of a character doing things and trying to construct a persona which is already for surface value only. So it's like, okay, it's an action adventure melodramatic thing, and it's just pure emotion one way, or pure conniving or guile another way, and you're like, that's it, that's what he is. So what would you do with that? What would be left to analyze? And I don't.
That sounds more like a tick, like tearing down of the idea of doing psychoanalysis on Kylo or J.J. Abrams characters in general rather than the concept itself.
Yeah, you'd have to get a primary character. You'd have to see that there's loads of screen time where he's just doing basic stuff, talking to people, trying to humanize him or her. And you're like, okay, then you might have something to work with, as opposed to focusing on the environment or the setting or some kind of scenario, because that would be action and high drama or whatever. So the story is not really about characters to begin with. It's not about men and women and humanity. It's about this idealized concept of courage or heroism, which I don't think is really applicable to psychology.
That's a fair point.
In whatever whatever technique you're using to analyze. So it's like, all right, you could try it. It's kind of like using feminism lens where it doesn't belong. Everything. Yeah, where it doesn't belong. It's like, you might pick up a few things, but other than that, it's not worthy of all this analysis, especially when we look at like Maggie Mae Fish, and she just invents stuff the entire time. And you're sitting there like, Maggie, that's not what happens in RoboCop. That's not what happens in Fight Club. Like, what are you talking about? And she invents this narrative, and people call this a deep diving into the movie. It's like, no, you're making shit up, Maggie. It's not there. And
let's look at Predator from a feminist lens. Sounds like a great idea.
Well, yeah, I know. Some of the guys we covered already use feminism as an afterthought. Like, oh no, this is just a trope. We're just looking at a pattern. It's like, yeah, then you put in all your crap on top of that, which is distorting the trope, and then you just make connections where there are none. So I don't think looking at Kylo Ren is going to be that worthwhile. I don't even think looking at Luke Skywalker from 4 to 6 is worthwhile. Most of his development happens off screen.
It's like you have to like consider like the other characters as factors as well, because like collectively, it's what like is very satisfying with the story itself, not just by the character himself.
Yeah, because he's not the only plot and not the only main characters. So there's lots of threads going along, and they tell their own tale together. And his journey through training with Yoda is interesting, but I wouldn't put too much psychology behind that to say, oh, he's a developing mind. And like, sure, he faces his shadow self, which is a psychological concept from Jung, and he literally fights it, and you're like, oh, interesting, that's symbolic, it's not literal. And you're like,
symbolism.
oh. Yeah, I know. There's lots of things you do in theater that you wouldn't apply to the sciences for obvious reasons. So I kind of dislike this whole a therapist uses his knowledge to look at Transformers. I'm like, I don't know why. Like, why would you do that?
That honor sounds like a great time. It's just having, like, imagine putting a professional psychologist down and having him watch, like, I don't know, the original Transformers G1, and just have him, like, just pause at random and be like, what is the current, like, psychological state of Megatron? Is he shooting his own guys in the back as they're running away?
Yeah, a robot that is a literal gun. Let me think about the psychology for that for a second.
HK-47, considering his targets.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. This is a 28.5-minute video. I doubt we're going to go that through. We're probably going to only get through 10 minutes because this guy is not... I don't think he's worthwhile, but you guys voted for it.
I think like last video, like he called the haters of these movies idiots.
Oh, so really?
It's a bit difficult to get to take him seriously,
a therapist,
especially if he's actually a therapist.
Yeah, a therapist would never call people idiots. A therapist is a fellow who cares about people in general, that they will listen to everything that they go through.
Yeah.
To the point of exhaustion. He's like, okay, we're going to talk about it again, but if you're not opening up to me, I can't help you. So it's constant patience and listening. And if you're calling people names, that's why people like philosophers or professors, they have a lot of patience for their thousands of students over the years. They don't rush to emotion. They don't just call people idiots. Like if you listen to Jordan Peterson, he's probably the most polite guy talking about these big deals, and everyone else is like swearing at him and this and that. But he's done this for decades. It doesn't bother him anymore. He has so many responses to issues. So anyway, we'll see what these guys have to say. Let's get going.
And this is maybe the most sort of beautiful, emotional moment out of all of the Star Wars films for me.
So already I have a problem with this guy. Beautiful.
This was the most lackluster moment.
This is not
like
beautiful.
All the sequels.
This is kind of scary and sad because, well, okay, killing your dad is obviously dramatic and it's done in a very dramatic way. However, right after this scene, Chewie puts a hole in his chest where he should have exploded and he didn't. And when we saw that bowcast, like the problem with drama or having an emotional reaction, you have to be invested in the scene. You have to make the scene be real in your mind when you watch a movie or whatever. So whenever you have these little logical problems and continuity problems, your brain goes, wait a second. That didn't make sense.
That's the thing. You hit the nail on the head there, Smut. It's not just you need to make the image real. The story needs to convince itself, if anything, that what it's telling is in an actual world, it's an actual real thing that's happening. So it needs to make it consistent. When a bowcaster shoots a stormtrooper and he does 50 flicks backwards, like it is Force Unleashed, and then it hits Kylo, he should go backflipping off the ramp alongside his dad.
Something along those lines to make it connect like it makes sense. Like compare this to the most infamous scene in Star Wars. I don't know why I didn't bring this up. No, I am your father. That's when Darth Vader and Luke are fighting. And the acting from Mark Hamill is kind of weird because he goes, no. You're like, that's kind of goofy. But he just had his arm chopped off. He just had this great revelation, this plot twist. And it's completely unedited, like unscripted, because no one told anyone on the set this was what was going to happen. And Mark Hamill's like, oh my God, what do I do? And he just starts saying no. And it's like, oh my God, this is what probably would happen if your greatest nemesis is revealed to be your dad. And you just had this crazy sword fight with this dude who wants to kill you. And you're like, what do I do? I'm going nuts. Like there's so many memorable scenes and emotional scenes in Star Wars. This guy picks the death of Han Solo. Like when I think of Kylo Ren, there's two things I would think of: his death, which was kind of funny because just whatever the ending was in episode.
I love that scene so much. There's like a clip of it on YouTube where you can hear the Reylos like gasping at like, oh, they finally kissed. And then he disappears. The crying is just like, it makes me happy all the time.
It was beautiful. It's like they started cheering. It's like, yes, we won. And then it's like, wait, no.
Yeah, no, it's really silly and funny because the movie is a mess. But when you have those scenes where it's like you're playing with life and death, you're like, okay, this is getting goofy. This is too stupid. Enjoy it for what it's worth. The only other thing I think of Kylo Ren, aside from when he freezes that blaster bolt to start, right when you see him for the first time, I
was going to mention that one. It's like the only scene I remember of him that I had any emotional reaction to.
Yeah.
And he never does that again.
I know. But the other one that's memorable for me is when he just wails on those computers because he's angry, because it's such a memorable scene because those stormtroopers are like, oh, I'm not going that way. Let's freaking get out of here. Like that is funny. So when I think of Kylo Ren, I see him as a brat, and that's a great example of him being a brat and being emotional and crazy, as opposed to killing his dad. Because killing his dad is like...
You should have acted like that for the full movie, and I would be okay with Force Awakens.
Yeah.
He didn't really get that.
Yeah, he was does it hurt? Like, no, Kylo, you're an angry little brat. You don't know what you want. You're trying to get power. You don't know how to get it.
Show me the way, grandfather.
Ooh.
I would say Qui-Gon's death hit me harder than not Obi-Wan. Han's death could ever hope to.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't care about Han in the in the sequel trilogy. I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, you're right.
I think like that's why like so many people were like going back to the prequels and they say like, wow, I have like more investment in this because like when you're contrasting it with like the new sequels and movies, it's just you get like more investment because like it's like built better. Like George Lucas, for like the most part, at least like cared about somewhat for the lore, but like, this one is just like out of his ass. J.J. Abrams never finishes any of his stories. Like whenever like it comes to like a corner, he's gonna ask someone else to like write for him. It really shows.
Well, look at
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know like what Chris and
look at the
Terry.
I'm sorry, the death of what is it, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru? You don't even see it.
Yes.
You don't even see what happens. You just see what happens after. You're like, oh my god, those are
The aftermath is
skeletons.
just so shocking. Yeah.
And then you see Luke, and then you get the most, I don't know, the most memorable, but the most iconic scene where he looks out into the horizon and he sees the two suns, and then you realize the story's about, like the real story's about to begin. Like that's like, oh my god, that was memorable. That was dramatic because it all happened and he wasn't there to help.
And like he doesn't say a single line of dialogue too. Like all he does is like call out for them, and like he just sees the corpses, like the burning building. It's like so good. Like barely any of that translates to the new movies.
Right.
It's all about the spectacle.
Yeah,
they do not deliver on any of those.
The most memorable from the newest films I could think of, which is reasonable to most fans, I would imagine, is the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One. Even though Rogue One is its own thing, all of a sudden you get Darth Vader for like, was it a minute? And he's just
a minute,
destroying everyone. Like, oh my god, like that's so different than the rest of Rogue. Not to say Rogue One is good or bad. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But that one scene is so memorable to certain groups of Star Wars fans because it was unexpected and it was what they wanted. Not necessarily out of a Rogue One film, but it was like, oh my god, this is Star Wars. Great, fantastic.
Rogue One is like in a weird place where like it's like halfway of like the good movie, but it's still like extremely mediocre. Because like the first half of the movie is like I can't remember like a single person who was invested in it, because like they couldn't even remember the character's name. But the second part is like so closely connected to the New Hope that like you're invested in it, because like you know some of the characters that participate in the battle, so like you're rooting for them because like they almost the exact same squads that you see attacking the first Death Star in the New Hope. So like, oh wow, like it's actually connected. It's not so awkward either. Like if you want to watch the movie, you should just watch the second part where they start the space battle, because it's like an hour before the New Hope begins. So it's kind of neat for that.
If you want to watch Rogue One, like the best way, I would say start at the point where Mads Mikkelsen dies. That's where the movie actually starts picking up.
Oh,
I don't say that because I hate Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen is a wonderful person and a fantastic actor, but they wasted him. They wasted the guy.
Absolutely. Like I can't believe they got him to play it, and he didn't do anything with the ball.
But
material was not good for him.
I'll bet for the prequels once again. I would rather watch Attack of the Clones than Rogue One, unironically. There are more characters there that I can attach myself to that are more entertaining and have better arcs than anyone in either Rogue One or the sequels.
All right.
But the entire... Oh, yeah, right.
We should get going with the video. We've been rambling on about. Much more memorable scenes in the Star Wars franchise than the death of Han Solo. So,
all
right. Is just the look on Han Solo's face.
Yeah.
And then this right here.
Yeah.
Not, I hate you, not I'm angry, not whatever, just a little bit of disappointment and mostly just sadness because I love you so much.
Hello and welcome to Cinematherapy. I'm Jonathan Decker. I'm a licensed therapist and I love movies.
I'm Alan Seawright. I am a professional filmmaker and I need therapy.
Let's do this. What do we got going on today?
Well, today I figured I would show you not a film, but a character from a series of films, get your reactions to his, I assume, pathology.
Okay.
Who are we dealing with?
It's Kylo Ren.
Yes, that would be pathology, for sure.
I like that he just cut out probably what was his big oh boy. Because it just cuts it cuts away from that. I would love to see his
Quite a
reaction.
comedic edit, I have to say.
So he's a psychopath. Fantastic. Let's continue.
Yeah.
You know, he is my favorite villain who also acts like my 5-year-old son.
Doesn't that say too much about the guy?
No, doesn't say too much. It says everything.
How about Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory?
Dexter's Laboratory.
He acts like a child. He is a child. He's evil. He does evil things. There's probably a whole bunch of children's shows that have like Invader Zim or stuff like that. That's for kids, and they do evil things.
Or Ed from Cowboy Bebop.
Ed's a bit yeah, okay, that's fine. It's just,
if he had a temper tantrum.
Again, all kids have temper tantrums. That's how they survive. But I would not want to be compared to one.
Yeah. All right, whatever. He likes his 5-year-old. Good for him.
You know,
we'll get into it more, but after The Force Awakens, a lot of people were kind of like bashing on Kylo Ren a little bit, like, oh, he's not as scary as Darth Vader. He's much scarier than Darth Vader.
Because Vader.
Are you joking?
No. How is he scarier than Darth Vader? Like, it's a complete joke. Like, even like after he took off the mask, I was like laughing. Like, is this for real? It's just the kid.
Okay, Olive Branch again, Devil's Advocate. He is scary in the sense that he is so much less predictable than Darth Vader. That's the only lens I can see that being relevant.
I don't understand that because he's a wannabe Darth Vader. He's like trying.
Yeah, he's a fanboy.
Yeah, he's not even at the level of Darth Vader. We watch Darth Vader, he walks into a room, he's like, I'm in control. I'm going to snap your neck.
Everyone respects him, and like the people who have to report to him that, like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, that I fucked up. Like, I think like Captain Leader, like that was the guy who like missed the Millennium Falcon because it was just landing on the radar, and then he had to report back to Vader that like, oh well, they escaped. Like, he apologized, and like he said, like, apology accepted, and he choked him because they know that like the reward for failure is death. Like, they don't have that with Kylo. Like, they try to have that kind of thing in the last movie, Rise of the Skywalker. I don't remember the title, but like, he's a complete joke.
I agree. I absolutely agree. My point being, he is scary in the sense that if you were stuck in a room with him, it is very likely he would just snap you in a temper tantrum. Where if you were in a room with Vader, you would be pissing yourself, but Vader would probably just walk out. Because he's more important things to do. Like, we have an understanding of his character. That's what I mean. That's the only way I could see him being more scary than Vader. And you need to put so many parentheses around that.
Yeah.
That just becomes ridiculous.
Interesting take. You can make the argument, but there's so much going for Darth Vader of being scary and powerful and authoritative and seductive and all. Kylo Ren's a guy he swings a lightsaber around like a nut bar. He's wild.
He's in control.
You have failed me for the last time, Admiral. Captain Piet.
Yeah, this too.
Make ready to land our troops.
Yeah, and Kylo Ren is completely out of control and arguably just as powerful.
No, he's not.
He oh my god, he went exactly with Jesus Christ. That's the only way. He took the only way you could argue that he's scarier. And that's that he acts like a child.
He's not
Jesus
just as
Christ.
powerful. I'm sorry, he's just not. Now, of course, he has to go up against Rey, and no one's as strong as Rey, so I don't know how to compare Kylo's power level, but I wouldn't say it's on the par of Mr. Vader. So I don't know.
Sir, we were unable to acquire the droid on Jakku. It escaped capture aboard a stolen Carillion YT model freighter.
He turns like daring him to say more.
Stole a freighter.
Not exactly, sir. It had help.
This underling knows who he's dealing with.
Yeah, he knows exactly what's coming.
Confirmation, but we believe FN 2187 may have helped in the escape.
I love that you can see.
Okay.
Like I hate that how much collateral damage he's doing with this.
Oh, that I have a bigger issue with the fact he actually knows what FN is.
Well,
Like, yeah, a reaction to, FN number has helped them.
right.
That implies that he actually knows this person.
He knows what the FN stands for. He doesn't know exactly which one it is, I think. The thing with this
He
scene...
calls him out as a traitor later on in the movie.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right.
He actually knows because he even says it out loud that he knows exactly who did it.
Yeah, the thing with
That's my issue.
this scene I don't like, as much as it's memorable to me, is that it looks like the lightsabers are a club, and it's just sort of scratching this thing that it should melt right through.
Yes.
And it feels like a toy. It looks like a toy. You kind of got that in episode 4 or 5. Was it the fight with Darth Vader, where he hits Darth Vader's armor? Now you could argue his armor is like super powerful or whatever, but it's like, all right, fair enough, whatever. I'm not too. It's like a glancing blow anyway. So it's not a big deal. But he's like wailing on these consoles, and they're just sort of like donk, donk, donk. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah, even
It's
though
like
I think
Force
the
Awakens.
Phantom Menace of all movies established that the lightsaber can cut through doors.
Yeah.
No, it's
It
like
melts.
Force Elite. They have preset props, and it's just damaged textures you're applying to the thing. You're not actually slicing it up.
Yeah, and maybe
That's what it feels like.
maybe these consoles are made out of harder stuff or something, but it's like, I don't know, that'd be kind of expensive, just a computer.
Oh god, so Force Awakens is actually just Force Unleashed with the mod.
Yeah, in terms of reducing his threat level, the fact that the highest guy, or next highest guy in the pecking order, knows the fucking janitor's name and him by person and face and voice, that is pathetic. That is
Yes.
actually pathetic. I saw the same janitors for 10 straight years back in, back to school. I never knew their fucking names. Why would Kylo Ren know the name of Finn?
But maybe you didn't know his name, but he knew your name.
Oh, anyway.
Like, do you think Vader knew who it was that served his drinks?
I don't know. Probably not.
Exactly.
Only this recent comic books from I read that Vader has connections or relationships with the other crew of the Empire, but it just doesn't make any sense because it looks like he's a very private person. So.
But yeah, that's comics. That I say that's fine.
Fuck those.
Yeah, you can completely drop those and not lose anything from the movie. This is the prime time movie. This is where you're setting up Kylo Ren, and you show him knowing the janitor's goddamn name. That is a bad start if you want to have him
This
be
looks
a
more like
friendly
Alpha
villain.
TV show than anything else.
Benzo H says, sure, they play bingo on Tuesdays.
Oh. Anyway.
In his face, the relief that he didn't actually get killed.
Yeah, take it out on the console. That's okay.
Yeah,
And I love the sound design on the lightsaber. It's
so good.
crackly. He's all caught up.
The two were accompanied by a girl.
Nobody said there's gonna be women on this.
What girl?
Okay, so filmmaking wise, I love the attention. You can criticize a lot of things about J.J. Abrams, but there's this little attention to the minute everyday details, like the way the boots scuttle across the ground.
Yeah, that is such a great shot that most people would ignore.
Right.
It gives it energy, it gives it pop, and it tells you, that is a thing that you would notice if you're being lifted up and dragged. You'd be like, oh, my feet were bouncing across.
The issue with it is that it makes it a comedic scene.
Yes.
If he was just there is an exact scene like this in one of the 40K novels, where a psycho grabs a space marine, by the throat and pulls him towards him, and there is a lifted area because it's going up a ramp. It just breaks his fucking feet off. Like, it just breaks it as he slides across the ground and makes this gnarly metal sound as he slid across the hallway towards the psyker. But here, it makes the sound when you're like intentionally grinding your feet against the slippery floor. You know the sound?
Yeah, but as we said before, it's funny. It's not intimidating. It's not scary. It's like, oh, this schmuck is gonna die. Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. It's a very common, very non-threatening sound. It's his feet being slid across the floor.
Compared to having a video conference with Vader, he could just choke you through the video, and you're like, holy shit.
That is threatening.
I don't want to have a Zoom call with Vader.
Yeah, no thanks.
Rama the meme says, I never noticed until now. Yeah, and now the scene is even worse.
Yeah, it's funnier.
The floor.
Yeah.
So just to deal with sort of his psychology here, first of all, as a manager, not the best.
No.
Not going to get the best performance from your organization.
No, and that's actually a thing about being a parent or being a manager, any sort of leadership position, is that if people fear you, you will actually be the least in the know in your organization or in your family because they'll be scared to report to you. This guy was terrified to report.
Yeah.
Like, people will keep things from you because they don't want that sort of, I'm going to choke you out reaction or chew you out in front of your peers.
So fear-based leadership, not good?
It gets short-term results.
Okay.
Long-term, it's like it will completely ruin whatever you're trying to do.
It doesn't make any sense because you have like Darth Vader, who was arguably much more scarier than Kylo Ren could ever hope to be. Like, he also had respect for his men.
Yeah.
But like he only killed the highest ranking officers who fucked up because it's their responsibility that like they couldn't accomplish the goal.
Well, even there you could argue that, well, this seems like a decent enough point. The issue is this does not... It seems very desperate to grasp at straws like this for Kylo Ren, to the point where you need to go into PR management.
Yeah.
In the context of Star Wars.
Yeah, this does not apply to Sith Lords. Who's higher than a Sith Lord? No one. The next level is his apprentice, which
Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine's the Emperor, and then you have Darth Vader. No one else is above Darth. What the hell does Darth Vader care? There's thousands of these admirals around. He can just like kill one off, and if they screw up again, get another one on. You either do your job or you die. Okay? Once you're that high up the ladder, you're an admiral. And if you don't...
Human resources are hard at work.
Yeah, like who's going to stop Kylo? Who? Maybe 1,000 men blasting at him, maybe, but that would be a coup d'etat. That would be all this planning and setup, and it's not just. And then what's going to happen? Snoke's going to come by and just blow up the ship because you screwed up one of his plans to have an apprentice. So you would never do this. You cannot apply real world relationships to Star Wars when the Sith are involved.
I mean, you can. That results in some of the most interesting stories, but I would not apply PR management strategies to the Sith.
This is silly. This is a silly analysis, yeah.
To refer to the chat, where is it? That's Ego Dreamer says that side of frustration only makes him appear weaker. And that's true. That is the point as to why Vader is so much scarier. He doesn't tell you that he's angry with you. He just kills you.
Yeah. It's all business. He's like, I don't have time for this. I got stuff to do. You failed. You're done. Kylo has a hissy fit, and then he semi-chokes a guy, and he's like, what, girl? You're like, oh, here we go. Did you listen to the report? Obviously not. Here, tell it again. He's just too emotional. He's too much of a child. Nothing to do with HR or PR. This is silly.
Also, why would you bring on a psychologist to talk about PR?
I don't know.
Video a whole lot because you've been watching it for several minutes now. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you can get more content.
I will
just like
decide
this.
by the end of the video.
And if you feel
it's
like
worth
watching
it.
this film, it's on, or all this trilogy of films, it's on Disney Plus. We've also included links below for you to purchase them or rent them from Amazon. We get a little kickback, which helps us to make more videos for you.
So this is a shield video.
I see the island.
So already, though, one thing that we
Holy shit, I just realized that like I see the island doesn't make any sense anymore. Because like Rey was never on the island before.
Yeah.
So like Kylo is just talking about the future.
Through her?
Yes, like because like he's like looking into his memories, her memories, and apparently there's an island, but Rey was never on an island. Like she was on Jakku.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet he's just talking out of his ass? Like how
Yeah,
somebody...
this is like typical J.J. Abrams writing. Like, oh, there's gonna be an island. There's not gonna be like revelations. Not that.
I want to know the psychology of someone who's torturing someone with their mental Jedi trick. Like, what is the story here? Is like, oh well, clearly he had issues as a child, beating
Bad haircuts.
little other animals, and not getting what he wanted and whatever. Like, what? Do we really care?
Clearly, he was quite a staple at a young childhood, which resulted in him turning into a Sith Lord and destroying a planet, okay? It can happen to anyone.
He started killing children his own age because he felt like it. Like, what? I guess.
see is that he sees her as a peer. I mean, this is a theme that plays out throughout this trilogy, is that he recognizes her as a fellow Force user, and therefore he treats her with a modicum of respect. I'm a big believer in the concept of we treat people with respect not because of who they are, but because of who we are.
Right.
Right? And I think when he was Ben, before the dark side overtook him, he was probably more like that type of person. But now that he's in his dark place, he only respects the people that he thinks deserve his respect.
Right.
Instead of, I try to be a respectful person.
Well, you look at his
He's a guy who kills people.
He's your textbook example.
He's a murderer.
Psychopath.
He's a psycho. He doesn't give a shit. What are you talking about? He's torturing her. I respect you by torturing you, okay? Where's the island, Ray?
Does it hurt?
Does it hurt?
He doesn't want to kill her because she has info he needs.
But the reason he doesn't kill her is because he respects her.
Or something.
You see, he's a simp. He's a simp. That's the argument.
Yeah, later on in the story, he wants to take her under his wing because that's what the Sith and the Jedi do. They find other Force users and they say, I can train you. You can become like me. I could teach you the ways and all that jazz. So maybe he sees that, but it's like, we'll find out later.
Kylo just doesn't want to be Me Too'd by Rey.
This murdering torturer. Yeah, no, he respects her. Yeah, okay, sure.
interactions with Rey versus his interactions with General Hux, who he just treats like garbage.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't respect Hux because Hux isn't a Force user.
Shall we destroy the city?
To him, having the Force means you're a worthwhile person.
Oh, that's where he recognizes it.
Yep.
That's great acting right there.
Such good acting.
On both their parts. You see the turn. It's so...
Please.
Close your mouth.
Daisy Ridley has like one face. Open mouth.
Keep mouth open. Keep mouth open. Move eyes.
Gazing eyes.
Such good acting. Okay.
And shouting someone's name.
Yeah.
Mike Tessa said, oh, lol, Kylo is a simp lord.
Simp lord.
He is a simp lord, yes.
Oh, that's a good point. Doesn't he respect Pride? No, Ben, so he does not respect Pride because Pride was invented for the Fred movie.
Oh. This is so silly. Anyway, let's keep going.
so subtle, but like he recognizes he's dealing with something, a threat now.
Yeah, so he already looks threatened, and you can see on her.
Or he's freaking confused because he doesn't know what's going on, and neither do we because Rey is suddenly amazing.
Oh god, I remember like the book, stupid book that like came with like the movie was explaining that like Rey was downloading the Force in this scene. Like I'm not joking. Like when like Kylo opens the connection, like Rey is siphoning the Force away from Kylo. And like the scene that we see at the final movie is that like Rey kisses Kylo. Rey is literally just leeching the life out of Kylo Ren.
Oh.
That's so stupid.
Makes no sense. He's frustrated and like, yeah, okay, sure.
Her face as well.
She knows it.
I figured it out.
And she knows how to use it or whatever.
You're afraid that you will never be as strong as Darth Vader.
And to him, Darth Vader is his grandfather, not Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
And he doesn't want the light.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it, but it's gonna keep coming after him.
Yep.
Does Kylo
What?
even know that who Anakin is? Because like the movie doesn't really explain that.
What does he mean? The light's going to keep coming after him. What does that mean?
I
It's
guess the
referencing-
lighting from the studio.
No, it's referencing the line in the second movie in the sequel trilogy that there is still light within him. That the light is shining through the darkness, whatnot, as
Yeah,
she
but
tells him in
that's-
the elevator.
That's in the second. That's in the next movie. It's not now. He's just confused as to what the hell's going on.
I think like he had like that conflicting moment when he was talking to the Darth Vader's helmet.
Oh,
That like, oh, I still have the light in me. Show me, grandfather.
make me
But
the biggest edgelord ever. Okay.
the thing about this is that, yeah, we know that was invented for the second movie. Do you think these guys care? They're literally being sponsored by Disney.
I think he is shilling for them, but I doubt that
No.
Disney Plus would like. I doubt that Disney Plus would give sponsorship to like a fraud like him.
Maybe there's an affiliate link through Disney Plus. I don't know if they do that. Obviously, he says there is, but
I'm checking it.
But between the two films, honestly, it's just another game of telephone. Like episode 7 was like JJ does a thing, and then Ryan Johnson's like, I'm doing my own thing. And you're like, what?
Well, there's an Amazon affiliate link. That's all I can find.
Yeah. So I don't think any of these films are connected properly. They're connected ad hoc at the end. There's like, oh, you did this. I better connect it my own way. And then we got episode 9, which was I don't know what that you can call connected. It's something is connected. I just don't know what. And
Episode 9 feels more like a sequel to episode 7 because like 8 is like so loosely connected to it. Like some of the characters are there, of course, but like for the most part, like you don't even have to see like 8 like what happened.
The funny thing about 9 is they actually get the conflict between Rey and Kylo relatively well.
Not too late.
It's way this should have happened in episode 7 where Kylo's attacking Rey's lack of family or her desire to have connection, and she actually gets emotional, and like that makes perfect sense. Yeah, she's new, she doesn't know what she's doing, but episode 9 she's training for a year. She's disciplined supposedly, and it doesn't work. Why are you getting fed up with this guy when you were training for a year and you know how to control your emotions? You could meditate to the point of levitating. You're super powerful. Why would a guy pushing your buttons about family piss you off? Like that doesn't.
Oh hell yeah! Like getting your investment from the audience at the very beginning. Like another good example is like Cowboy Bebop with the Ballad of Angels, of Fallen Angels episode. Like it's like at the very almost at the beginning of the series, and like it just hooks you up. Like you want to know more of the conflict between the two characters.
Yeah.
This just doesn't know like what it wants to do. It knows that it has a checklist of like we need to show this actor now. We have to like do this thing, but ultimately it's just like it doesn't match together.
And it's funny because those are the actual good dramatic scenes between the characters because they're set up that way. It just happens so late, and this is stuff they would have dealt with, especially in that 1 year time frame where they are a family. She has friends. She has a master. She knows what she's trying to do. This is like more time than Luke had to train, and she should be really. She is super powerful. She should have all this understanding under her belt, how to deal with these sorts of issues, especially after meditating for that style that she can do it, that she's so amazingly at meditating she could fly. And no, she's still hung up on not having a mommy or not knowing a family or whatever. It's like, really? Okay. Interesting.
Mike makes a very good point. It would have actually been scary instead of letting her live in that scene where he's interrogating her, he just kills her to prove her wrong.
Pulls out his lightsaber.
Yeah, and then Finn could have picked up the mental responsibility or whatever.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would have been a lot better and would have actually given power to that shot of him holding her lightsaber, but hey, we are not here for good writing. We're here for J.J. Abrams' spectacle.
That would have been a very shocking move from, like, you would actively hate Kylo Ren. You'd be like, holy crap, he just killed off supposedly the hero, and then we get a new hero through Finn. That would be like really shocking. So like that would turn heads. I would be like, wow, I don't know what to think about that. That'd be great. It's too much though. I don't.
Did you play the first KOTOR game?
Oh yeah.
Did you talk with the mentor Jedi that talks about chosen ones?
I don't remember that specific.
Which one?
It's a black guy with the mustache.
Jolie Bindo?
Yeah.
Oh,
that guy. There is a discussion with him about chosen ones where he talks about how there was this guy. He was a supposed chosen one, and his way of being chosen. Yeah. His way of being chosen is that he was the one chosen to die horribly and kill the bad guy. In his course, being shredded.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like he falls down in the mine shaft, but like because of like he falls down there, it explodes and causes a chain reaction.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting if that was what they were going for with Rey. Is that she's the chosen one? She is chosen to bring the lightsaber to Finn. That is her fate.
That would have been such a good fake out, like episode 9.
It would have been cool if she was somehow, this is dumb, but as a Force ghost, so she's still in the film. So she's not, like you could hear her voice in like trailers, so you know she's in the story for more than just a few scenes.
I think for like the original script for episode 9, Rey dies, and the entire thing takes place in Coruscant.
Oh.
Ben Sohaib says China wouldn't like it. That's fair point. Counterpoint. They didn't like any of the movies afterwards.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They're already horrible, so I don't think they're going to like anything from Disney.
You can't build a castle on shit.
Yeah. Anyway, that's... Anytime we talk about bad stuff, we always invent better suggestions, and we're like, ooh!
Fair. But it might inspire someone out there to write something better.
Yeah, no, just imagine he was feeding her chocolate cake. I'd be like, yeah, that'd be a better scene. Yeah, I'd love that better. I don't really care. Like anything would be better than whatever just we got, where Rey becomes a Mary Sue.
That's a lot less entertaining than something that could quote unquote realistically happen. But I get you.
I know. That's fine.
Your son, he's gone. He was weak and foolish like his father, so I destroyed him.
Can we talk about something for a second? There's something that I think is kind of implicitly woven throughout Star Wars, but maybe not discussed enough, is, Anakin Skywalker was weak, so I killed him, right? Ben Solo was weak, I destroyed him. Like this dual identity that Anakin and Vader are literally two separate beings almost, right? And you see it in Rise of Skywalker. I had screenplay problems with Rise of Skywalker, but Adam Driver's performance when he goes back to Ben, like the performance is so solid.
The performance is really good.
And you're like, holy cow, like Ben Solo was super likable.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this.
So he's because he's a Solo, right?
Wow.
Right.
He's likable, he's funny.
He plays it like he's Han Son.
And there's just the little tiny moments. We'll get to a couple of them, but my favorite is he's fighting the Knights of Ren and he pulls the lightsaber out of nowhere and then he just goes,
Like, come on.
Okay, I
just
can see Han Solo doing
the Jedi, like, and how he like blasts behind him.
Yeah, they somehow dropped the blaster for no reason.
Yeah, like why would they?
I am so confused as to what his point is.
Yeah.
This is derailing the point so much.
Ben
Because
is
like we went
likable.
from like the scene from like the end of the 7th movie, and now we're just talking about the 9th one.
Yeah.
No, wait, I understand now. His point is that he is timed with Han Solo because he is Han Solo's kid. That reminds you of Han Solo, who's actually likable. Therefore, Ben Solo is a good character. He's a likable character because he reminds you of better things.
Remember when Han Solo did this?
Yeah. And the reason why is because he made up a ghost of his dad and had it forgive him.
Yes. Oh man,
It is
so bad.
literally member berries, arguing in favor of member berries. Oh Christ!
That makes him likable. Some hallucination he invented. We don't know how or why or what the hell was going on in that scene. And he said he liked him after he liked himself. He forgives himself. We're not sure what happened there. And then somehow he got off the planet that we don't know exactly. Okay, whatever. So many questions. But he's likable, apparently. Because he fell and went, ow.
I like your good hideout, just going, remember berries and posting. Berries in chat, that's great.
All right.
But so here, like, I see.
See, I hate that scene because you can't do that in war or in a battlefield and actually hit a guy. It doesn't work that way. He has no force powers. He has no mirrors. He has no targeting computer. He's just a guy with a gun, and then he just managed to hit a guy behind him without looking. I was like, okay, that's stupid.
It reminds me of the scene in Saving Private Ryan where Commander is firing the pistol at the tank and it suddenly explodes.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking that was how they were going to do that when Richard watched the movie and he was like pulling his gun backwards. I was like, yeah, it's going to reveal that it wasn't him that killed him and it was actually Ray or something or one of the gunners. Nope, they pulled that straight. He just fires behind him without looking. Okay.
Kylo Ren as like a dark version of Ben. It's like the other side of the coin. And anytime someone's overtaken by the dark, they want to pretend the light version no longer exists.
Yeah.
That's what Snoke wants you to believe. But it's not true.
So from a filmmaking standpoint, this scene is,
My son is alive.
you know, interesting. Han Solo from the left, Kylo Ren from the right. In Western cinematography, people coming in from the left are usually the hero. People coming in from the right are usually the villain. They're literally crossing a bridge to each other. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the lighting. You can see there's a lot more blue light as a rim on Han Solo. And then, of course, as the sun goes out, it fades and we just go to a full red on Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's not subtle, but it is fun telling you through the cinematography and everything else what's happening inside his brain.
Yeah, and it's poetic. I mean, the whole crossing the bridge thing, like I'd never thought of how that is a symbolization of what's metaphorically happening.
Yeah.
Mate, are you sure you're a fan of movies or just a fan of the experience?
You know, that whole bridge makes no sense. It's such a very thin walkway. Like, who designed this? Why is this thing so long?
It doesn't make any sense because it's so wide if you look from the outside, because it's like it's supposed to be the silo to the entire planet. So like those things are huge. Like the X-Wings are flying around it. Like that's how big it is.
Also, his earlier point about every dark force or dark side user wants to ignore the light side or deny its existence. That's a straight up bold-faced lie. Anakin never screamed at the camera and said, I have no light side anymore. I have 0 light points.
I think he's trying to get at there's the good side and the bad side, and they only focus on the bad. And it's like, that's fine because the movies are pretty streamlined to think that way. You are, light and dark, good and bad. There's really no gray in between. It's when we get into the games that it's like, okay, there's gray Jedi, there's good Sith, there's just, Sith that are just emotional. There are Jedi that aren't completely emotionless. Even in the Old Republic game, there's a few side characters. I can't remember her name, but you could make her more Jedi. You can make her more Sith. And one of them is a romance option. And even she is interested in having a family, but she speaks in a very logical, emotionless way if she's Jedi, and if not, then she's like obviously Sith and crazy and emotional. So
and hot.
Yeah. So it's this wonderful, like they do a better job with fleshing out ideas in the games, and the movie world is just so boring and straightforward that it's like, it's okay. It's nothing special. And that's the problem I have with it. It's not as well thought out as other writers or other game developers. And that's sad because we have this stuff. We have the books, we have the novellas, and of course we have KOTOR. And it's so well done that all they had to do was take KOTOR and go, oh, these themes are great. Let's use some of these ideas. It's like, yes, use them and build a story around them. And I don't care how you do it. Just use those ideas if you're having problems connecting with the audience. And they couldn't do that.
I don't even think it's a issue of lack of nuance or well thought out storytelling. I think it's just plainly wrong to claim that there is no dark side user or all dark side users just reject that they have any humanity, because as we see with Vader, you were going on earlier that he kills the guys at the top because those are the ones he has to deal with. Doesn't go out of his way to strangle his own stormtroopers because they missed their shots.
Yeah.
Sure, you can argue that that's not what his point is, but he's already digging so deep for any source of meaning on this character that is just a schizophrenic. He does whatever the writer tells him to do in that moment.
Yeah, much like the bowcaster's varying power level throughout the story. It just does explosions or sometimes it just nicks people, and you're like, okay, whatever.
And the worst case about that is that he punches the fucking wound later in the movie to remind you that he was shot.
Yes, that does.
Like, okay, you want to tell me that he's trying to hurt himself to power himself up? All right, why would you want me to
stick with the Sith technique to just keep punching it? That's like a way to heal the wound.
Yeah, did you miss the scene where Vader stabbed himself before fighting Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Power himself up?
So
turn off my pain inhibitors.
All the emotion that Kylo's getting makes him stronger. So it doesn't matter if it's, happy emotion, negative emotion. It's just emotion. He can use it as a weapon. It makes him feel better. And you're like, all right, cool. Awesome.
Wasn't that how, what's his face? Anakin fell to the dark side was because of love? Because of his overwhelming love?
Yeah, I think.
He was obsessed that, he wants to save Padme. And then, he forgot about, the first place, why he even started his journey down the dark side.
Yes, because that's the point of the dark side. It's great, but my point being, it starts at any overwhelming emotion, be that positive or negative. So why would you need to punch your wound to power up?
The emotion makes sense. The thing with Anakin is he's so dumb and forgetful that you're like, wait a second. I get that you want to save her, but you're losing sight of that. It's like, this is my original goal. And then you just start getting emotional and doing whatever this guy asks you to do because he might help you. And it's like, what? He doesn't have a cure? Oh, so now he doesn't have a cure. Now now you're fucked. So now you've killed all these people.
The great part about that is that that's the entire point of the dark side, is you go that deep and then you realize, wait, why was I getting that power? Yeah. That's a repeating theme with dark side users, and it's one of the best, I would argue, one of the best parts about the dark side in terms of, if you want to go on an actual psychological analysis, because it's the thing you take for power, but by the time that you get the power you needed, you forget why you need the power in the first place.
Because
there's something.
You're on another emotional high elsewhere or whatever. You forget. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah, there's something there, is my point.
Anyway,
something to chew on.
Here's Coolman229. Thanks for the 5. Sith don't just all deny their former existence. Anakin has particular reasons for it. Count Dooku doesn't deny his identity. just because he's a Sith. Oh yeah, he's talking to Master Yoda like it's like, oh, I'm your student, blah blah blah. And we see this in what was it? Was it KOTOR 2 or was it KOTOR 1 with the Miraluka? What's her name?
Yeah, this is
Visas.
from KOTOR 2.
Yeah, she's very aware of what she is, and she knows who her old master was and why. And she's not like pure crazy evil. She's just using the Sith teachings, but she's very much wants to follow her new master, whether the new master is light or dark. Like, she doesn't care. She's like, this person is more important to me. So she has her own values outside of woohoo power. So no, they have their own personalities. They have their own identities. And the thing with KOTOR 1 and 2 is that you learn about the Sith in a very unique way. They're not just power-hungry nut jobs. Yes, some of them are. But the interesting ones are like, no, we want to raise a family. We want strength. We use it through our emotions. I think Jolie Bindo is the greatest example of that. He's like, love is, it shouldn't drive you crazy, but you can't deny it, even if you're Jedi. Like, that's silly. Why would you deny yourself happiness and all these other things? So there's a problem with the way that the Jedi and the Sith were set up in the Star Wars films, and KOTOR deals with that, I think.
Yeah, it really satisfyingly.
What's her face? Iphixian Atras, I believe, was her name. The teacher in KOTOR 2.
Yep.
For the a representative for the quote-unquote Grey Jedi.
Yeah, she becomes Sith. Even though
she
she's
has
a Jedi. Yeah.
Atris? Yeah.
She has a very interesting fall, is that, she needs the power. She needs it at all costs, the same way that she needs your lightsaber.
Right. She's was an archivist or a librarian, and she just collected collected all these things, and she was influenced by them, but she retained her knowledge of all things. She was both. Very similar to Kreia, in almost a mirror. They're almost the same.
She was like an incel.
Basically an incel, yes. But before I continue, Mike Testa made a very interesting comment. Did you miss the scene where Dooku's headless body got up, grew hands, and just started strangling Anakin? I don't know what that's a reference to, but that is a very funny image.
Dooku the headless chicken.
Oh.
But Atris is a very good, I would say, very good take on how the dark side of the Force can manipulate even the wisest of individuals.
Oh yeah, and like when you encounter Atris at the end of the game, like you know that like she turned, like you ask her like what is her plan, and like she pretty much like wants to create the Sith, but under the name of the Jedi. But like they are not going to be any weaknesses. You're gonna punish them, and I'm gonna create like a stronger order. She's totally nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I force joke slammed her up and down. It was fucking hilarious.
All right, here's Kylo Rimjob. Thank you, Kylo Rimjob. I really like Adam Driver as an actor. He always seems to give it 100%. It's just sad to me that these are the movies that got him into the mainstream. Same with Oscar Isaac. Yeah, yes. No one is saying, aside from Ray, these actors are bad. They're actually quite good. It's the script. It's the other things around these actors that don't make much sense. And this
most of the actors are really good. Ray's actress is I don't know like what kind of movie would be suitable for her, because like she has like so little range. She doesn't even change her accent at all.
I've seen her in other things. She's actually pretty decent, but I think they told her not to do certain emotions, and she's stuck with this amazement face and this painful face. I don't know what they are. It's like a listless look, but she's about to be angry, or I don't know. So that's all we get out of her, and I've seen her in other things, and she's okay. Like, she does a good job. So whatever they did to her or told her what to do was just either she was phoning it in, like just to get the scene done because there's other things to worry about, or they deliberately told her don't do these sorts of emotions, just do these 2 or 3 for each scene. And it doesn't work. It just does not connect to the audience very well.
my favorite Daisy Ridley role outside of Star Wars was as a corpse. So I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh. Anyway, these guys.
Very mean. Very mean. I know she's a okay actor as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no, she's not blowing me away, but she's good. She's fine. We're only 8 minutes and a half into this. These guys aren't really giving me too much insight. We might go for another 4 minutes just for the sake of it because I'm waiting to get some value out of this video. But it feels like last time it was like, meh, they got nothing much to say. It's not very accurate. It's kind of subjective. The analysis is I don't know where they're coming or going with it, and they just sort of watch the next scene and it just keeps going, and you're like, this is kind of pointless.
Latching on to straws.
I really don't know why they are simping for this movie.
Yeah, you'd think the psychiatrist guy would talk about psychiatry, not film, and the film guy would talk about film. It's like, okay, whatever.
The issue is that he doesn't have much to talk about. Let's be honest here. It's Kylo Ren in the first Star Wars movie. What is there to analyze? He's a brand.
The film guy's talking about lighting, and you're like, yeah, it's red. It's great.
Yeah, he's talking about lighting and the chroma metaphors. Yeah, it's up, like he's up his ass. Like you can tell, but at least he's talking about his field of expertise, quote unquote. The psychologist so far has talked about PR, and the light is chasing him.
Yeah,
and he's trying to catch up.
You don't know what he's thinking, but you can tell from the lighting what's happening inside of him. You're like, what?
That's cinematography. That has nothing to do with psychology. Give me the American Psycho analysis. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, as Han is... And you notice that Ben stops, but Han keeps going towards him.
Han crosses the bridge towards him.
And Ben doesn't, or Kylo at this point.
Will you help me?
And this is this is all-time great performance. You know,
Harrison
whether or not
Ford?
the script lived up to it. These two guys are
Of course, Harrison Ford is going to
In both
be
their major
doing a good
scenes together in
performance.
this sequel trilogy, they're so great together.
So good.
Like the fucking amount of money he was asking for.
But here it's interesting. This is a version of Ben. Will you help me? I know what I have to do. I don't know if I have the strength to do it. It's not a trick in Kylo's eyes. He's literally asking his dad, "Please, this is what I want. This is who I want to be. Will you help me?"
And the sun goes out, and that last moment of will he, won't he?
Yeah.
Nope. It's just darkness and red. And Han sees it.
Yeah.
Oh god, that scene still gets me. Holy shit.
You see, I don't like that scene because it's like there's a literal piece of metal he has to push through his guts. It's like, no. This is a lightsaber. There's no friction. You're just ripping through his... He should be on fire right now. He's so hot. There's just no way. It's like, I'm going to push this further into you. There's nothing to push. It's you're melting through flesh.
I don't like that scene because they set up the scene where they're struggling with their hands, where Han is trying to hold his grip, right?
Yeah,
and then he looks back to them with Finn going, duh? And then you have it cut back, and he just teleports, like Naruto teleports his lightsaber, like straight towards Han's, and then turns it on. Like, okay, what was the point of showing the struggle then? If you're just gonna ignore that.
Yeah, he's being a dick. He's like, I'm gonna go along with what my dad wants. Psych. And you're like, what? Why?
Again, it's very emotional. The sun literally goes out on them, and they lose the last ebbs of hope. That is not what's set up here. That's not what's being set up here. He's just being set up as being a fucking dick.
Yeah, like, is there some Sith ritual of killing your past, which has to be as melodramatic as possible to make it more effective? Like, if that's...
Is that why Anakin killed the children?
I don't... if that's a thing, then talk about this. Hey, Kylo, you killed your father the way I told you. Very good. Your training is almost complete. We shall now do whatever, the next training. And you're like, okay, cool.
Was there a sufficient audience, though? Otherwise, you will not get the light points you require to level up.
Yeah, and then the episode 8 is like, oh, it broke you in two. And you're like, what? You didn't do it right? What was the problem? What happened?
You didn't get the SSS rank. You just got the SS. You need to slice them in two.
Yeah, you didn't stab him properly or something. Like, what?
I mean, that would be a lot more interesting than what we got if they were if the dark side was the guys that were completely anal on how you betray your past or wipe out your
Or
past.
something. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I wanted more lore explaining the Kylo character. That way we can go, oh, that's why he's the way he is, as opposed to he's crazy, psychopathic, and he's got daddy issues. I'm like, okay, that's not great to look at. I don't really care.
All right, so go on.
Yeah, Rey has parental issues too. Do we have to have this be like 1-to-1? Is she gonna like try and save her father figure, or does she even have one? Like, does she have a mother figure? I don't even think Leia is a mother figure to Rey. She's just the mentor person, and Luke is just the guy she has to go find later. So there's nothing really. I don't feel a connection between Rey and anyone. She's just there. She doesn't struggle with them. She's just above them all. She doesn't need their help.
We got 2 interesting comments in the chat. Pretty actually interesting. So first, Mike Tester says, "I hate the lightsaber sounds. It sounds like the thing will blow up any second."
Kylo's lightsaber?
Yeah.
It sounds a bit wonky. Yeah, it does sound a bit different, and it looks a bit different too. I kind of like that, because it implies there's something, like it's a literal representation of his emotions. They're unstable. And if you remember the lore for KOTOR, how you choose your kyber crystal, it kind of chooses you. So
yes,
I like that connection, but they never talk about it. They never say why kyber crystals are a thing. They just assume and plus the whole stupid thing with the dumb, I don't know what those 2 other slots are. For those 2 other crystals, are they vents?
Vanguard?
What is the cross hilt? I don't know what the fuck that is. I never understood what those things were, and I don't like it how it's so unexplained. Can you do that with kyber? Can you break them? Is there a broken crystal? Is that all he found? Is that all he could get? Was the price too expensive to get better ones? Did he go to a flea market?
Is it poking? I'm just imagining one of the troopers just walking up to Kylo as he's just training. It's like, "Hey Kylo, did you get that from the dollar store? It's poking out from the sides."
Yeah.
The other comment was, let me pull it up. Rama the Meme says his eyes doesn't turn red, so it's yellow Sith. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That was a thing in episode 3 where you see the scene where Anakin turns back towards the camera, and he has that nasty yellow eye. Where it's like, he's about to do fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't have it while fighting Obi-Wan. But then he gets it back when he's like laying on the floor.
He's on fire. He's full of rage.
Probably that's where the yellow comes from.
Yeah, when you get angry, your eyes light up like a wolf or something. I don't know.
I like that idea. Is that the idea that beneath the human, beneath the human exterior, there is the fucking monster that the dark side turns you into. But my question is, okay, what is the light side of that? Because both sides are not supposed to be. You're not supposed to reach the extreme of either one, right?
Yeah, because the Jedi are non-emotional, so they would look like normal people. And in the books, there's the one Jedi who's like a Force Jedi. She has a mission to accomplish, and she will keep going on. I can't remember what her name was. And she helps out Obi-Wan, I think. And then she dies or finishes her mission. So there is some interesting stuff with the Jedi, but it's not as colorful as the Sith.
2 other comments. One from Mike again. You see, Lal, Kylo just sacrificed his father to become a godhead like Griffith to the best dog. All right, that's an interesting parallel.
Oh.
All right, and Rama the Meme says, "Smoke in episode 8. Kylo, did you listen to Solo's monologue after you killed him?"
What did he say, you fool? I told you 1,000,000 times. After you kill him, you have to listen to what he says.
No, Kylo, stop pressing X. Don't skip it. Anyways.
And this is maybe the most sort of beautiful, emotional moment out of all of the Star Wars films for me. is just the look on Han Solo's face.
Yeah.
And then
it's a face of joy. I will never have to return to Star Wars again.
Yeah.
Except I do.
Because they gave me $1 million to do it.
Oh my god, the fucking thumbs up on the left side as it zooms in on his face of despair. Holy shit, they're as tone deaf as the movie itself.
No, it's gonna be like, oh, leave a like at this video.
Yeah, probably. Like the video again, guys, because we asked you the second
Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button.
Just like smashing Han Solo's chest with a lightsaber.
Not. I hate you. Not.
Oh,
I'm
it
angry.
wasn't for that. They're literally thumbing up the scene.
Look at that.
Oh my god, you were right.
Look at that crazy bridge or whatever you call this thing. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it to be there.
Where does it go? You can't even see the other end because it's like surrounded by shadow. Like it's like a fog of war from strategy game.
Two pieces of metal.
But you have to like get the gold from Age of Empires to explore.
You need to send the scout cavalry out over there. Maybe there's a relic out in the distance.
You gotta collect.
Can you imagine walking across? I'm not gonna walk across that crazy bridge.
It looks so dangerous. Like there's not even a rail next to it. No way.
Oh, real talk? I used to be afraid of walkways because I'd always seen them in like American movies or action movies where they don't have any rails over like extremely tall drops, and I'm like, God, I would not want to be at any like proper workplace if that's what it looks like. And then I found out, nah, they have railings and everything.
Yeah.
Like, even where there's no drop.
Even in episode 4, they had railings like this, but they weren't this long. They were short because they connected to like the.
They were very short, yeah.
Yeah.
Also because like they were grounded and they had to like work with what they had.
Yeah, for sure. So this is like, this looks silly to me. Like,
I just realized. Mike asked almost an hour ago now, Jesus, whether he could join the call.
We're almost done. I don't want to go on for more.
Yeah, I think we should wrap up. This is like this video.
We're not really getting anything from it.
If there was some commentary that we could add that would help, but we're just making our own stuff at this point, and these guys are like, "This is amazing! Look at this is the best scene in Star Wars." They're like, "Really? This?" Okay. Anyway, we'll go for another few minutes.
Not whatever, just a little bit of disappointment and mostly just sadness because I love you, son.
Yeah. This is his last act as a father, right?
Last act as a father is fucking die.
In the previous video, which if you haven't watched it, you should. How Kylo replays this moment and tries to do it right, like gets a redo.
Huh?
So, you've seen that comic?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. That to me is canon. So there's a comic. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll put it in the video so you can see it. But it's a panel of Chewbacca seeing, Kylo Ren kill Han Solo, and then several panels of Chewbacca remembering.
Come on.
What the fuck?
Ben
is
Solo as a child, and
because he's got Kylo in his crosshairs like a headshot, like a kill shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It's a kill shot, and then it's all of these memories of.
Yeah, but who made this?
It's someone on Twitter.
This is not canon. This is just some guy going, "What the frickin' hell is this shit?" I gotta explain it properly in my own headcanon.
Are all filmmakers retarded?
I was joking about the PR, like having the psychologists do PR management. They are literally dragging up fan artists that are trying to make the movie more interesting. People are pointing out, the art isn't good. That's fair. Like, that's completely fair. However, that's besides the point. Why are they bringing up the art in the first place?
Yeah, this
is a problem with the plot. This is a problem with the continuity of the weapon, of Chewie. You could argue Chewie got angry and bad aim, but he wouldn't like miss a shot because he remembered Ben as a child. What? Do we even know he had any meetings or encounters with him? Maybe. I mean, it's not.
It would make sense, but like the movie is not doing any service to support that.
There's no flashbacks. There's no dialogue. There's no reference. There's nothing. Which would be interesting to see Chewie in grieving and talking to Leia and going in whatever way they would show a flashback or him explaining to the audience that when Ben was a child, I took care of him. I couldn't kill him. Ba, 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 ba. And Leia's like, I understand. Da, da, da. Like something. But no, there's nothing like that. So this is just headcanon. Sorry. It's not there.
God, it reminds me that like Rian Johnson in the commentary track for Last Jedi, like he had the idea that he would make a flashback that would explain like the past of like how did Luke and Kylo get to where they are now. But he said like it's unneeded because like we can piece together like what we know from the movies.
Of course we can. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Thanks, Ryan.
Perfect sense.
We can totally piece everything together by just assuming a better movie in our heads.
Like
Thank you.
The 3 flashbacks weren't confusing enough, and then the last one was just like, what?
Imagine if instead of the flashbacks and like the Canto Bight, was that the place? Yeah. Instead of that, like we could get like a lengthier flashback scene. That would have like made like a bit more sense.
Yeah, just make it have it make. I don't really care what they do. Just have it make sense. So Luke is actually Luke and Kylo is not some lunatic. Because it comes across like Kylo just blows everything up, and you're like, why? Why would he do that? He would get scared, but he wouldn't kill everyone.
I mean, you could make him a lunatic, but you should contextualize why is he having a fucking fit? Like, has he just gone senile?
Yeah,
why?
If someone attacked you in the middle of the night and you survived, you would be freaked out, but you wouldn't be in a murderous rage. You wouldn't be start murdering all the other students that you didn't like or whatever. Like, why would that happen?
At that point, I was wishing that if Luke was actually Snoke. Like, it turns out that he was just, like, faking it.
Yeah.
But then the comics revealed that he didn't kill anyone. It was the fucking magic lightning.
Yes.
Those comics.
Yoda sending a light.
The whole Snoke was like influencing him then at that point, and he brought down the light. He killed all the students. They're like, what? Wait, what?
Like, we talked about how he is completely emasculated in comparison to Vader. Yeah, if you're insisted on keep making him like, if you want to go the route that these two shills have, where they're like, oh, he's so much scarier than Darth Vader, have him kill some kids, okay? Have him butcher his fellow man. Like, come the fuck on. Have him do something bad or terrible. Don't just have someone else come in there and wipe the floor like with the kids' innards for him. Come the fuck on.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more better if Rian Johnson really wanted to tell this whole why Luke is the way he is and the sadness and weirdness that is Kylo. They would have done a lot more flashbacks, a lot more arguments, a lot more emotional outbursts. It was just ask him what happened, whatever. And a silly little fight scene with a stick, and you're like, then she goes away, and then that's the end. And Luke's gone, and he has another meeting with not another meeting, but a random meeting with Yoda after all these years, when Yoda could have helped out at any point for decades. Didn't feel like it.
I'm still heavily against the idea of using flashbacks because we have seen in Star Wars what just a good old talk can do, like the scene where in Episode 4, where Obi-Wan is telling Luke the whole story.
But Rian Johnson's going to tell the story he wants, and he did a lot of stupid shit, like the flashbacks, that whole mirror scene that made no sense.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm just saying I would be, if I had to go, okay, this is how you can improve it, I would just say no flashbacks.
He wanted to be artsy-fartsy. It's like, that's fine, but at least have it make sense first, and then do whatever speculation and who knows what's happening later. You could do all that, all the crap you want, but you gotta give us reason why things are the way they are, why Luke is the way he is, why Kylo, like all that stuff, all the detail. Do the basics, then do speculation for the next film. That's fine.
Oh, that's actually a point against these high budget movies that Disney keeps pumping out and churning out, they're not going to make as much money back as they... Okay, so to contextualize. Instead of having these stupid flashbacks that take up way too long to say what can be said in a few sentences, you could have had just a scene where, well, as you had before, where it's just Luke telling Rey what happened. There you go. Have him act. He is an act. Mark Hamill is a fantastic actor. Have him act his heart out like Obi-Wan did to him. Have a scene similar to that. That was clearly what Ruin was trying to do. But it ended up being so much more expensive for no goddamn reason besides, it's the story I want to tell.
Yeah,
I need these flashbacks.
It's very similar to what's happening with Star Trek now, which is kind of it's not a good thing, but it's funny because the fifth try of New Trek, or the sixth try, I guess you can call the films New Trek as well, with Strange New Worlds, they just take the formula of the original Star Trek and they say, okay, all the characters are roughly the same. We have new technology, we have new CGI, we have some different stories, and a very, very polished, good-looking, good-sounding experience. And we're not sure where they're going with it. I think there's only going to be 10 episodes, but it's like, this is what people wanted. And there are some dumb things, like the same way Star Trek had some dumb things, even though it was in the 60s and, sets weren't very well done and makeup wasn't very well done, and we should be able to fix that. That's fine. We can forgive the cosmetics. It's not a big deal. It took so long to get there. So maybe there's some hope for Star Trek, or Star Wars rather, with hopefully Obi-Wan. That could be it. This could be the proper solution. Not to say Mandalorian wasn't good or whatever. Like, some people like those shows, but it's funny that it takes so long for the people in charge to go, this isn't working. Millions and millions and millions of dollars later, maybe we should do what people want and give them what
I
they
don't know.
want.
Like, from what I heard from the Obi-Wan series is that the director was saying that, like, it's kind of like Joker or Logan.
What? Joker?
Like he was comparing the Obi-Wan series, that like it's kind of like in the spirit.
That
is.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I was like, why is he gonna like go to the Empire, the most famous like broadcasting station, to talk about jokes?
That sounds... I would be down for that. Jokes with Obi-Wan. Let's go. But to tackle some comments. Mike Chester says, Yoda tried striking the temple, but instead struck the Padawans by accident. I think that's what you mentioned early on, Mike. Or, Mark. Excuse me.
Yes.
You mentioned Yoda thunder.
Because if you are connected to the movie, like, it's Yoda that like makes the lighting go down and like burn the tree down. But like, it doesn't even tell Luke that like, hey, the books aren't there anymore. Like, even though like the spirit should know.
Yeah, but why
like,
even?
What, like, did like Luke just imagine that?
Yeah, why even destroy the tree then? Why go through that? There's no symbolism there. The books aren't there. It's empty. So why destroy the tree?
Why lie to Luke at this point when he's a ghost?
And that's actually what Rama talks about afterwards. I believe in reference to what I said, which don't use flashbacks. He says, "Yeah, but it won't look cool." And the same for the lightning on the tree. It doesn't look cool unless he does it. He can't just go, she already took the books, dumbass. Hello. It'd be much cooler if he came in with thunder and lightning like a fucking... like a Greek god.
All right. We're going to go for another minute or two, whatever these guys have to say. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right.
This is so dumb. This is such a dumb point.
This is stupid.
Kylo Ren, or of Ben Solo as a kid growing up playing.
Oh yeah, give him the bowcaster. That's fun.
With him because he would have.
Yeah.
And then the bottom panel, he switches down and shoots him in the hip.
Okay, on the topic of comics, have you guys seen the comic where the skeleton gives a double-handed greatsword to a child, and she runs around with it, and the parents are like, she might hurt herself with it. Have you seen that one?
Where's that from?
No.
It's a very I'll drag it up afterwards, but it's a very famous comic of just this Christmas skeleton just giving a kid a sword and basically making the point that if she hurts herself, that'll be an important experience and lesson for later. that's the only reason I could think of for Chewie to give him the bowcaster. It's like, if you kill yourself, it's your fault.
Yeah, in this scene, the bowcaster is actually aimed at his stomach, not his hip. And if you guys don't know anything about human biology, if you get shot in the stomach, you have about 10 to 20 minutes to live, depending on the hole, because you have a lot of hydrochloric acid in your stomach, and that stuff destroys organic material. So you will die very painfully. So maybe the wound is cauterized, maybe he has Sith powers, maybe he has some armor on, I don't know. But the bowcaster makes no sense.
Now I know why he can't stop energy beams anymore, because he needs to focus all that energy to stop the hydrofolic acid to stop consuming his organs.
Yeah, well.
That's why he's always in pain.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of films and books that have people get stabbed in the stomach, and I'm like, oh, you better get to a surgery really quick. It's like, no, you didn't get stabbed in the lungs. I wish he got stabbed in the lungs. At least he has a second lung to still breathe. But stomach, no, you're going to die. So, anyway.
Yeah, because he still can't. Yeah.
He's dead. I'm crying about a comic strip that is not even part of the movie. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, we're done. These guys are...
Yeah.
These guys are sad.
I'm so glad that's what, because I was screaming for like half a second, just going, no. That's the point where you need to cease.
I'm crying over a comic book that's not real. I'm like, what?
What is wrong with me?
All right, meme time. What is happening to Kylo's eyes? He's bleeding? What?
More.
All right. Vader's general, Vader's captains.
That's pretty good.
Smoky Dwarf. Virgin Ray serves only as pleb tier waifu for sequel member. Chad Anakin, Jedi mullet. Oh.
Of course.
Lightsaber so good, the OT and the sequels had to steal it. Oof.
Yeah, I made the holiday special Boba Fett.
That is very nice.
That is
very cool.
Very good. Yeah, wow, look at that. I didn't know. Wait, is that custom or can you buy it like that?
I think he customized it to himself.
Wow.
Maybe he works for Lego.
I like the guy in the background hanging out.
Follow me, friend. All right, that's cool. Looks like a He-Man shot.
Oh, yeah, this is from it's the Star Wars Holiday Special.
You're kidding.
yeah, because the Holiday Special had like a very short cartoon segment. Oh. So this was the introduction of Boba Fett before The Empire Strikes Back.
Cool. Let the discovery that Disney destroyed the expanded lore but revises it to fit their agendas flow through you. Oh. Yeah, who knows what the lore is going on about. We don't know where they're taking it from. All I know is they're going to make a KOTOR something or other eventually. And that's all I'm waiting for.
Yes, for the PS5 first.
Oh, is it going to be a game or is it going to be a franchise of like film and TV?
KOTOR? It's got to be the remake.
Oh, the remake. Yeah, no, I know the remake. I thought, what's her name says that, yeah, we're doing something with KOTOR. I didn't know it was a game. I thought it was...
they gotta do something with the High Republic setting. But that's not the KOTOR setting that was in the EU. So
right.
completely different.
This is what you gave us. This is what happens. The dystopian future has for us a thumbs up over the face of a father being murdered. What is up with this thumbs up and the little blue thing? I'm like, what is? Did they do like a little artifact problem, or are they just?
No, it's an animation. Like the blue background is like going over the whitish layer.
Oh.
So like the blue layer is like doing an animation around the white thing.
Okay, this is awkward. So it's like, okay, maybe they did it to get past the sensors or not the sensors, the ID of yet.
Oh yeah, that was really weird. Like they had like the full scene without any editing. So I wonder like how did the streaming survive?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're absolute shills. That's why you have this glorified man-child that has bags under his eyes, going, I am crying about a comic strip, about something that never happened. What is wrong with me? While staring into the camera.
That was just too much.
This is a lot of stuff I won't read, but it's probably not that. I don't think it's that accurate, but some of it's like, yeah, that's probably true. It's a bit hyperbolic. That's fine. Meeting true fans. Wow. Thank you. Was it?
I like the idea that. I just like the idea of they're all burning in hell. Like, damn.
I think it's.
I wouldn't.
The first circle or the second? I don't know which one of these. I can't tell you.
One of them, certainly.
One of them is a cardinal. Like, wow. Well, actually, no. They're all royal. They're all people of the church, I think. So it's like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Oh, right. The demons in the background has the holy robe. So yeah.
Meet the men
Catholic hell.
taking their wife's surname. The joy and uncomfortable conversations behind the decision of a growing number of men to throw off the shackles of an archaic marital tradition. It depends.
So they are just like taking the name of their father-in-law.
That's fine. It really depends on why. I don't know why it has anything to do with dressing up as a Star Wars character. That's kind of weird.
Oh, the joke. Okay, the joke here is that the men that would do this are cucks.
Oh.
And the joke here is that the new, like, all the reference images are people from the new trilogy. So it's calling them cucks.
Right, but if your wife or your lady partner is like royalty or has some sort of dynasty and it's bigger than yours, it's like, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, who cares? It's just a name. They want the name.
The other fact is like, what, like, I think it's like a thing to like take like both surnames.
I've seen
like
that.
You separate it with a dash.
I've seen that, but I've also seen African first names that use the first names of the parents and the parents of parents, and it's just this massive name when you have the children.
Oh yeah, like Nordic people do that too. Like Peterson, it's just son of Peter.
Right, and it just. They don't call them that, but that's when you actually look at the birth certificate. It's this huge ass name, and I don't know why that's done, but it's a tradition that we've had for at least 100 years or two. So it does seem kind of odd, but you know, I've seen stranger things. I don't like the name hyphen other last name. It's kind of
it's too much.
It's a bit weird. Yeah. So if you have a famous or like Da Vinci. If the girl you're marrying is named Da Vinci, yeah, I'd want that. I'd want that last name. I'd go for that.
I mean, I'm weird in that sense, where I would go, yeah, I would absolutely try to have my name be, the family's last name, but yeah, it is at the end of the day just a name. So unless it's one of those, as you mentioned, Da Vinci's, like one of those big old,
like Bernini. If I was related to Bernini, even through marriage, I'd be like, yeah, I want to. That's my family.
Or the Ark.
Anyway, this is very similar to that horse picture we see with Game of Thrones, where they have the episodes or seasons 1 to whatever, and the horse keeps getting stupider and stupider as like the drawing of it looks bad. And in this one, it's just I don't know why they did it with the first one, but I would make the first one a little bit more retarded. But the third, that's great.
I like that idea. Is that together, like as 6 movies, is a fantastic horse, and then these sequels just puts it down. That's when the retardation comes in. It's a bullet to the head.
Rules guide for shills, ignorant and or dishonest statement, rebuttal, evidence to the contrary. Wow, I must have struck a nerve. Look at all of these angry men, babies, fanboys, incels, generic insults in my mentions. Call out, seeing what you're doing. This is harassment. I'm muting this. Oh. Well.
That's just Twitter.
That's not specific to Ryan, I'd say. 15 megabyte. I'm going to watch that later. But thank you, Rama, too. I'll check it out. No problem. All right. We are finito on these guys again. Yeah, these guys, I wouldn't blacklist them, but there's not much to them. They are making stuff up, and I don't like the premise of their show, which is to analyze a film through the lens of a psychiatrist. Because if you don't know psychiatry looks at the human condition of mental illness as a medical ailment. So something empirical. So I can give you drugs, and then you can use those drugs and feel something different, and then you would figure out how to, or read a manual and figure out how to deal with your own issues. Whereas a psychologist would see it as a health issue as a whole, or a clinical psychologist might see it as a neurological issue, and try multiple techniques outside of drugs and empirical solutions. So it's a very narrow form of psychology, and that's why I don't think it's very effective. Because this guy is not trying to like, hey, I think Kylo Ren needs some antidepressants, or calm him down. He's like, make him feel something. So I don't know. It's kind of silly. They don't say much. It's bringing up comic books that aren't related to anything. It's kind of weird.
I would say you shouldn't put a blacklist on these guys. They honestly aren't that terrible. Issue is, I'd say there should be a soft blacklist on. There needs to be, like on any recommendation, there needs to be something there. Because there's absolutely nothing in this entire video to really chew on.
If we had like a series of videos that were like this, that were just sort of like, meh, they're kind of dumb, but they're not horrible, we would go through 2 or 3 a night, like a Saturday night or something. I could see that happening, but not as a whole. It's kind of lame. So
most of the time was spent just talking about more interesting stuff, like, the nature of the dark side and all that good stuff, rather than them prying about comics that aren't real.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, that was a pretty relaxed video. It wasn't that bad. We've had a lot worse, of course, but it wasn't that great. So sadly, we can't continue. We're not going to cover this tomorrow either. So keep the suggestions coming, as always. Keep voting on these videos you want to cover. And hopefully, we'll cover one of the ones you really want us to see. So thank you so much.
Before we roll out or finish off here, I want to mention, these guys are somehow less interesting than the page-to-page cover that Atop the Fourth Wall did on the Last Jedi comics.
You mean Linkara?
Yeah, Linkara's take, where you said that, I remember when you originally covered the video, you said that, there's nothing here, he's literally just going page by page. We're not covering this again. And then you covered it again.
Oh, that one. Yeah, okay. That was pretty silly, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They have somehow there's less here to chew on than Linkara going literally back to back on the comics.
Right, yeah. Well, that's Linkara. He has some bad takes, and we just run with them, I guess.
I just feel like so sad about him, because like he used to like put out like decent content, and now he's just like politics has consumed his mind.
Yeah, that's what maybe that's what his patrons or his audience wants, because that's who he appeals to, and they just keep telling him to do it.
Yeah, sure, but like this is not gonna be something that he can live off in his old days.
No. Well,
I mean, $3,000 per video. Yeah, I'd say yes to that. So
well, for now, until like there's gonna be like a better audience, because like he keeps trimming down on his audience. I don't want to like delay like the end of the stream too much, but like he seems to like whenever like someone tries to make a joke, like a friendly banter, because he used to do plenty of that when he was covering other individuals on like streams with Spoonie, and like he was publicly like laughing at them. So like this is hilarious that now he's putting such a hiss fit about it. He doesn't like when he feels so hurt.
I think it's just 2016 that was the damn just broke for most of these people.
That and Channel Awesome. Like, I don't fucking know
That
what
entire
happened with
thing.
Channel Awesome. It was like gatekeeping all these psychos on one website. And then they got unleashed on YouTube.
Oh. Well.
Because even like Renegade Cut was from there.
Oh my god.
Renegade Cut, Lindsay Ellis, some of the bread tubers as well.
Scary. Anyway, thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a great evening.